through ORM tools. Then where first we are understanding about requirement of ORM. What exactly the requirement of ORM? What is that ORM can? I give you some points here. In enterprise applications, we may represent data in different data models. Mainly the following two data models we are using explicitly: object-oriented data model and relational data model. In the data representations, both the models are having their own conventions, that is rules and regulations to represent data. Here the differences in conventions of representing data is called as mismatches between the two data models. That is paradigms. Data models are nothing but what they paradigms. Here these paradigms mismatches will make data persistence difficult in enterprise applications. In our context which data persistence in enterprise applications, we have to resolve all the paradigm mismatches. Here to resolve paradigm mismatches in order to improve data persistence in enterprise applications, we have to use ORM. ORM is for their object relational model. Object relational model, it can be used to map object-oriented data elements and relational data elements either to XML document or to annotations. Right, sir. Object-oriented data model and relational data model, what exactly the mapping is going to be happen. In general, we are able to get the following mismatches between object-oriented data model and relational data model, and which are solved by ORM. Right, what are the various mismatches? You know, granularity mismatch, subtypes mismatch, associations mismatch, identity mismatch, and so on and so on, some other. Granularity mismatch we spotted there. In granularity mismatch, what exactly the content here we are having? What is this granularity mismatch here? Guys, understand it now. What is granularity? What exactly the meaning of granularity? Can you tell me, guys, what's the meaning of granularity? No. Granularity of a class is the number of fields which are existing in a class. Granularity of a table is the number of columns which are existing in a table. Okay. Alright, these two are just examples here I'm telling them. But actually, the meaning of granularity at a models level, in object-oriented data model and relational data model, what's the meaning of it now? Granularity is representing the number of variables in a class is also a granularity. Number of columns in a table is also a granularity. Similarly, number of classes which we are using in any application, that number of classes which we are using in any application is called as granularity. That is called as like what their granularity. Observe carefully. This is granularity in what their object orientation in object-oriented data model. Next one. Granularity is representing the number of tables which we are using in any database related application or in any application is called as granularity. You know, is called as is not required here. Number of tables in a particular application. It also be number of classes which we have used in our application is also be called as like what their granularity. That depends on the level what we are using here. Granularity in the case of an application, number of classes. Granularity in a particular class, like number of variables. Granularity in a particular table, the number of variables here what we are getting. Guys, all of it. Right, yes. Then here, granularity is representing number of tables or number of classes in an application. Is nothing but what their granularity. Okay, fine. But here, what is this granularity mismatch? What exactly the meaning of granularity mismatch? How we are able to define this granularity mismatch? That point here we have to understand. Right, sir. Now here, observe carefully. I want to take an application and try to understand this application here. Everybody understand this. All of you guys observe carefully. Here I have a class employee. Class employee. Okay. Class employee. Inside this class employee, just I'm going to have like what there. Int employee number, string employee name, float employee salary. Like these three parameters we have taken. After this, it's okay, fine. And then what next one here? String employee address. Right, these three things we have taken. Guys, all of you are listening? All of you are listening? What I'm telling to you? Please respond to me, guys. All of you are listening? Please, all of you, one time respond for me, guys. All of you are getting it. Time to time, I want to ask some questions to you. You have to answer for my questions. Okay. Right. Now, in object-oriented data model, I've taken class employee like this. Okay. Now, how I can represent the same thing at a database site? Now tell me. How I can represent the same thing at database site? Now tell me. How I can represent the same thing at database site? Now tell me. So I need to take one table or not? I have to take a table. What's the table name here? We are going to take there EMP1, for example. Inside this EMP1, now tell me what columns here we have to take. What columns here we are getting? What columns here we have to take? ENO, ename, E cell. Observe carefully. Like this, then what next one here? EADDR. That we have taken. Am I right or not? All right, good, nice. So table is ready. Table here we are getting. Try to understand it now. Fine. Whenever we are getting table, when we are getting table, I have some other requirement now. What's my requirement here? Here EADDR I have taken or not? Please recognize this. EADDR I have taken or not? The employee address maybe I may specify like what there. Up to now, just only city name, something else like what Hyderabad like this. I'm able to take. That's why I've taken string EADDR. But what I'm telling there, I have a separate requirement. My other requirement is I want to give plot number. I want to give plot number, not only plot number. There I want to give some street information, house number. Then what next one gets street information, then street name, then after that city name, then after that state and country. These many things here I want to take. Guys, all of you know, answer for me. If you want to take multiple attributes for address, address in the sense address is not like a single value. Address is like what there multiple attributes values, multiple fields values like a house number, street name, and a city name. Then what next one gets state and country. These many details I want to take. If you want to take these many details now, if you want to take these many details, then what I have to do in object orientation side? In Java side, what we have to do? Come on, you have to answer for my questions. I want to represent some address details here. But EADD string type I have taken only one value we can provide. But my requirement is I need to provide more and more number of values here. Then how it is possible to provide more and more number of values? How it is possible to more and more number of values? Now tell me. All right, sir. Now here, what I have to do there, I have to remove this string EADD here. Then place other than what I have to do there, I have to prepare some other class. Class address here we have to take. You have to take address, class address. Understand it here. Class address here we have to take. Now inside this class address now, here what we have to take there, maybe one minute guys. Maybe here what I have to take there, string house number or flat number. Then what next one is string street, maybe a string city. Then string state. After this is sufficient. Country is okay, fine. I can make it later on. Like this here we have to here we have to take an address or not. Similarly, whenever we have taken address here, then automatically we have to take the same address reference variable inside this employee class or not. Address here we are able to take. Yes, clear all of you know what I'm telling to you. Now here we have to represent like this here. How we are able to represent the same thing in database side now? How we are able to represent the same thing in database side, guys? Raj, any idea? How we are able to represent the same thing here now? Okay. No, then one approach is like what there. Just we can take like what there. Here multiple approaches are available in database. Right now, one approach is like what there. I have to take a separate class address, a separate table address, where we have to maintain some primary key, foreign key relationship. That's okay. That I will discuss with you later on. But before that, one more solution is available. That we are going to understand like in what there. That we are able to understand in association mappings. That part will come under association mapping. Now understand it here. Now in the case of this, before this associations, then I want to go for some alternative. What is the alternative here? I will take one user defined data type EADDR. Then inside this user defined data type EADDR, I'm able to define different keys. I'm able to take this is a component column. Now inside this component column here, I'm going to take multiple keys. Now what are the multiple keys? No, house number. Then after this house number, then what next one here? Street. Then after this street, what next one here? City. Then after that, what next one here? State. State. Right. Like this can be provided. Now this is like what I'm telling you. This is totally a table. Okay. Now here, what are the various columns are existed here? We can understand this is one column. This is another column. This is another column, and all the remaining things are another. All the remaining things are like what is another column here. Now this is what they're EADD here. Under this EADD we are having all the column names. All the column names are existed here under this. Now observe carefully. Here we are able to specify like what they. This is another one. Here this is like what I'm telling you. Another one, and a city and a state. This is one solution, guys. We can understand it now. So this is like what the component column. This is like what their user defined data type. EADD is what their user defined data type. Then component column like this here we are able to take. Yes, all of you are getting my point here. Of course, I can take other table where primary key, foreign key we are able to define. That is different. That is under like what there some other content here. But here my requirement is like what I'm telling to you. Here my requirement is what there. Understand it? My requirement is I don't want to take another table database. Multiple solutions are available. One of the solutions is what there. Define one user defined data type here. Under this user defined data, we can make multiple columns here. So this data type, this EADDR column is acting as like what there. This EADDR is acting as like what there is a component column. This is called as like what the component column. This is a solution here we provided. Yes, the solution is available here. This solution is existed here. You can understand. Okay. The solution is available. All right. So now in this scenario, then what's the point here I'm telling there? Here, what's the granularity of this object orientation? What's the granularity of object orientation, guys? Now tell me. What's the granularity of this object orientation here? Everybody respond for me here. Now 2 is the granularity here. Now 2 classes here we have used there. 2 is the granularity. But here, how many tables are available here in this solution? No. If we take this solution here, how many tables are available here? No. Only one table is existed here. Guys, all of you following my point or not? I'm not getting any response from all of you. Okay. Right. Sir. Now the point is what there. Granularity is what there. 2. Granularity at object orientation is 2. But at a relational database model, what is the granularity? No. Granularity is what there. 1. So difference is available or not? Come on, guys. Difference is available or not? Yes, definitely difference is existed here. Okay, fine. With this difference, then what's the problem here? Now let me check this point clearly. What's the point here? I'm telling you. For example, when I create object for employee, this is for example like what there. I'm trying to create this is a employee object. This is employee object. Now inside this employee object here, what I'm telling there, its reference variable is like what there emp, for example. Then inside this, I'm trying to keep some data. What data is available here? env is equal to 111, name is equal to aaa, ESL is equal to 5000, for example. Then after that, address is available. But what this address is representing actually, address is representing what here? Address is representing address object, address class object. This is what object you know? Address class object. Then inside this address class object, then what we have to house number is equal to say for example h123 something else. Next one is street is equal to some street here mg road. Next one after that some state value nothing but like what there is equal to city before the state city is equal to Hyderabad. Then after that state is like what there Telangana. Like this details we are getting, guys. Understand it, guys? Give a minute of time. Into the database table or not? Our requirement is what there. Whenever we save this EMP object, automatically ENO value has to be stored in this column. Then ename has to be stored in this like what there in this column. ESL has to be stored like what there in this case now. House number. Now house number is coming from address object actually. This address object data will come to this house number here in this case now. House number value is what there H123. Then after that, after completion of this, then what next one you know from this here? Street information like what there MG road. Then after the street city value here we have to specify like what the Hyderabad and state is like what the Telangana. Like this here, the data has to be stored. Guys, here my question is what there. If we take a solution like this EMP1 and EADDR like this, and here if we take a EMP employee object in association with this employee object address object, if we take no, if we save this employee object data and both address object data, both the data has to be stored in a simple EMP1 table or not. Especially address object data has to be stored under a component column. The component column that is user defined column, that is what there EADDR. Inside this EADDR only in the sub columns the data has to be stored or not. Come on, guys, give response for me. If I take this user defined data type now, yeah, definitely we have to provide like this. If I take this user defined data type now, inside this user defined data type, then we are having multiple columns. Then all the address object data has to be stored under this user defined data type or not. Right? Whenever we are saving this EMP object, how this data will be distributed over these tables as it is like this, as it is as per our requirement. How it is possible, guys? No response. Are you understanding what exactly the point I'm asking there? What exactly the concept I'm discussing now? If I store EMP object by using hibernate only, for example, or maybe in any database application, if I store employee object, how employee data and address data, both the data is going to be stored in a EMP1 table. How that data is going to be distributed over the data. How employee data will be stored in ENO, ename, ESL, and how address data is going to be stored under EADDR column there, user defined column. How it is possible here? I get my point or not? Exactly. If you want to map as it is in this particular situation, exactly in this particular situation, here we required ORM tools we required. Exactly. In this situation, what we require, O or M is required. Exactly here, what we require, O or M. This is O or M. O or M implemented tool. Like what there, I can specify like what there hibernate. Now here, hibernate is providing a separate mapping for this particular requirement. That is like what there component mapping. It has provided what there component mapping. It has provided there. Guys, everybody understand this? What it has provided, component mapping. It has provided here. Okay, component mapping. Everybody understand my point clearly? What is this component mapping here? What exactly the meaning of component mapping? Observe carefully. This is a solution. What is the solution for granularity mismatch? No, but hibernate is providing solution there. Hibernate is providing a solution. That means ORM is providing a solution in the form of like what is the component mapping. Now, what is the meaning of this component mapping here? Observe carefully. Here, employee is existed here. Employee. Here we are able to have like what there EMP1 mapping. I'm telling you, employee to EMP1 mapping here I provided. Then inside this employee ID value, ID property is available. What is this ID property? No, ENO. What is the meaning of this ID property here? Equivalent to primary key. Equivalent to primary key in the case of database table. Now here inside this, then what we have to provide there? No, ENO. Next one is normal columns are available. That is ID property is okay. Next one is like what there E name. Now this is like what I'm telling you, no, E name. That's okay. Next one is E cell. Mapping I'm telling you. Then here what we are able to get there, no, E cell. After that it's okay. Now tell me guys. Now here what we provided here, no, here we need to provide component mapping. Here we have to declare like what their component. What is this component mapping? EADDR is representing, the property is representing what component column? EADDR. Okay, EADDR is representing what their component mapping, that is EADDR. Okay, and its a class type is like what their address. Address is a type here. That means here what I'm telling to you, observe carefully. Now here we are having EADDR of type of address class. Of type what they know address class. Address class here. Now here we are getting like what their EADDR. EADDR address, then area that we are getting. Now inside this what mapping is required, here the mapping is like what there house number will be mapped with like what there here house number. Next one here, now street is mapped with what there, it also be like what there street. Next one is after that city is mapped with what there city. Then after that state is mapped with what there state. Right guys, now get this component mapping. That means EADR is representing a particular class, that is what their address class, no, that is mapped with what their EADR user defined data type. In our class type here, HNO street city state is available, which are mapped with exactly the respective content. So this is what exactly the solution is provided by ORM. As implementation of ORM, Hibernate is providing solution. That solution is available in the form of like what their component mapping. So in that way, Hibernate has provided solution for what the granularity mismatch. Here the granularity of object-oriented data model is what there 2. Here the granularity of database, that means our relational data model is what there 1. So 2 is higher than 1. So object-oriented data model is having higher granularity than what there than relational data model. So whenever we are trying to store two objects data, that is mapped with what the EADR user defined data type. In our class type here, HNO street city state is available, which are mapped with exactly the respective content. So this is what exactly the solution is provided by ORM. As implementation of ORM, Hibernate is providing solution. That solution is available in the form of like what their component mapping. So in that way, Hibernate has provided solution for what the granularity mismatch. Here the granularity of object-oriented data model is what there 2. Here the granularity of database, that means our relational data model is what there 1. So 2 is higher than 1. So object-oriented data model is having higher granularity than what there than relational data model. So whenever we are trying to store two objects data, the two objects data has to be stored into a single table. To store the two objects data into a single table, there we are able to have some mismatch. What mismatch here we are getting there? Granularity mismatch where we are getting no. To overcome this granularity mismatch, to overcome this granularity mismatch, there we have to go for like what there ORM. Here we have to use that ORM is providing a solution for granularity mismatch in the form of like what there in the form of component mapping. Right, so through this component mapping only we are able to store the data into the database table. Yes guys, all of you are getting clarity on this point now? By declaring component mapping, we are providing mapping between EADR to address, and that is equal to like what the EADR user defined data type. Under this EADR, whatever the columns values can be provided there, as is the data will be stored into the respective database table. Guys, please confirm to me. All of you are getting my points clearly? Guys, no response. All of you are getting my points clearly? Please respond for me. Now tell me, to overcome this problem here, we have to go for ORM or not? Here ORM is required or not? ORM is required or not? Right, sir. Now ORM is required in this case. So this is the meaning of like what the granularity mismatch here. That's okay, fine now. Right, sir. For a statement here, I'm telling there. Anyway, the total explanation I've given. For a statement here, I'm telling there. All right, sir. Object-oriented data model, the number of classes and the tables in a relational model and the number of tables. and the number of tables in relational data model are varied. It is granularity mismatch. Granularity mismatch. It may reduce as a granularity mismatch. It may reduce data persistence. Data persistence. To overcome this problem, ORM ORM has provided a solution in the form of component mapping. What is a component mapping? I explained already in the diagram here that we have to use. Refer the diagram there we are able to get much clarity. Okay, right guys. Now this is what we completed. Next one is after completion of this subtypes mismatch. The second one is like what there subtypes mismatch. Here we have to understand what's the meaning of the subtypes mismatch. No, also carefully guys. How we are able to achieve the subtypes mismatch here. What is the subtypes mismatch? Let's observe carefully. What's the meaning of the subtypes mismatch here? Alright, now let me explain this point first of all through a diagram. No? Then after that we are going to see that content. Subtypes mismatch is also called as inheritance mismatch. Inheritance mismatch. Right. For example, here I'm going to take a class. Person class here I've taken. Inside this person class here, what I'm telling there, string name, person name, into age, and some other members here I've taken. Same names like example, I'm telling to you. Okay. Tell me guys, how many types of persons are available outside? No. Please respond for me. How many types of persons are available? Can you tell me the classifications on these persons? Can you? Come on, so many types are available. One of the examples is like what there, student. And another thing is like what there, class employee. Employee is also one type of person. Am I right or not? One type is what the student, another type is like what their employee. That both examples can have taken. Everybody understand my point now. Fine. Now, student is a person. What properties are available for student? No. The properties. Then what properties are available for person? No. All properties are required to the student or not? Like name, age, the details are required or not? Definitely required. That's why what we are able to provide there. I want to use whatever the parameters which are available, whatever the properties which are available in a person. No. I want to use as it is into my what their student. Guys, observe carefully. Whatever the information here we provided here, whatever the information here we provided under this person as it is, the data is required here inside the student. So what I have to do there? That's it. Then what we have to do? The student is a person. Am I right or not? Student is a person in the sense which relationship? No, is a relationship. No. If it is easy relationship here, then what I have to do? How am I able to achieve that easy relationship? No. Guys, you have to respond for me. Whatever the data which is available person, I want to reuse the data inside the student. Then what I have to do there? Extend a person. Inside the student here, I'm able to provide like what there? String a student ID. Student ID is okay. Name is already available in the like what their super class. No, that name here we are getting no. Apart from this, then what data here we are able to have there? String a qualification. Then what next one can know and into student marks. Sorry, into marks. Marks are required. That's enough. Right. Sir. Now similarly, employee is also a person. Employee is also a person. No. Now look carefully. How employee is also a person can know what the properties are available for person. All the properties must come to the employer, not. All details are coming to the employer, not. Class employee extends person. Now employee extends person or not. Then automatically employee is having its own data. What data is available? You know. Right. First of all, here employee ID. Employee ID is different. Next one is what? Next one here after completion of this one flow to employee salary. After this employee salary, then what next one here? String employee designation. These details are existing. Now this is what exactly the representation of the inheritance in the case of like what their object-oriented data model. So I record person details again and again. I record person details here. Whenever we want to have person details again and again, no, there we have to provide like what their extends keyword. There we have to extend our student from person and we have to extend that employee from person. So object orientation here we provided clearly. Guys, can you please confirm to me all of you are getting up to this point here in object-oriented data model what we are providing? Can you give that information here? Yes. Right, sir. Now again my question is how we are able to achieve the same thing in relational data model. How it is possible to achieve the same thing in relational data model? Just think about it. I'll come back within 1 minute. How we are able to achieve the same thing in relational data model? Now, please think about this point here. Guys, any thought? How we are able to achieve the same thing in a relational data model? Any thought? Any idea? How it is possible to achieve the same thing? Right? Think about it. Right, sir. Now, in three ways, we are able to represent the same what we have understood. They're the same thing in three ways we are able to represent in a relational data model. What are the three ways here? Now, approach number one. Approach one. I will take a table, guys. Person table. Person table I'm going to take. Now, inside this person table, what I'm providing there? Name, age, then all columns, all properties of the subclasses also here I'm going to take SID, qualification, marks, EID, ESAL, then what next one here? Right, sir. ESAL and designation. These many details. With all these details here, we are able to prepare a separate table. You guys understand this? Here we are able to take all of them in a single table. This is one approach. What I will do there here, when you create objects, in general, in the case of inheritance, we are going to create objects for which classes, guys? Now tell me. We are able to create objects for child classes or not? Right. Here we are able to create objects for what classes? There, child classes only. Okay. Now this is one child class. Now this is another child class object. Two child class objects can be created. Here I can say like what they are student, and here I can say like what their EMP. First approach I'm telling you. Try to understand it. Here name is equal to AAA, age is equal to 25, SID is equal to SI111, S111. Next one is qualification is equal to BTech. Then what next one here? Marks is equal to 78. Some information can be provided. Next one is after that. Name is equal to BBB. Then after that, age is equal to 30. Employee ID, EID is equal to E111. Employee salary is equal to 50,000. Then designation is equal to what designation can be provided here? No, manager. This is referred by EMP variable. For example, in a database related applications, save of a student and what next one here? Save of EMP. If you ask this question there, then automatically what happened there? What we are expecting from this particular example here? What we are expecting is now both the tables data has to be stored into like what there into the database table as a two records. What two records can know? First record is like what the student. Now inside this here we are able to provide what data you know student name age 25, student ID S111, student qualification. What qualification here we have to provide BTech. Then after that student marks. What student marks here we are able to get there 78. Then EID, this is student record. EID value is what there null. ECL value is also like what there null. E designation value is also like what there null. In that way here we have to prepare. You know my point or not? Next one, whenever we provide employee object there, name is BBB, age is like what there 30, and employee ID, student ID is what there null. Qualification is like what there null. Then after that, student marks is also like what there null. But employee ID is what there E111. Employee salary is what there 50,000. Designation manager. Now I'm asking one question to all of you guys. Now try to answer for it. When I say both the objects, when I say student object and as well as like what there EMP object, when I say both the objects, no, how both the objects data will be stored into the single table, and how student data will be stored in a row where employee data values is null, And how employee data will be stored in a table where employee data is original data, but student data is null. How we are able to provide? How we are able to provide? How we are able to achieve when we store these two objects that as is the data has to be stored into the respective columns data. How it is possible there? Exactly. Here to make it is possible. What we require here we require like what their warm tool, that is what their hibernate is required. Now inside this hibernate, here we have a solution. The solution is provided actually hibernate solutions. No, that is like what they know. Inheritance mapping is provided. Inheritance mapping. Right, sir. Then what's that mapping here we provided here? That mapping, inheritance mapping is available in multiple ways. But one of the ways like what there table per class. What's that approach here is available? They know table plus table per class hierarchy. Table per what there class hierarchy. This is one solution. It was provided by hibernate. That is what their ORM tool. Table per class hierarchy. A single table for the total class hierarchy. Total inheritance. The total inheritance is represented in the form of a single table. So here the inheritance mapping is available where that what exactly the type of inheritance mapping here we are using. That is what the table per class hierarchy. Next one after that. In the case of another case is existed here. What's that another case here? A separate table for guys observe carefully. A separate table for each and every subclass. A separate table for each and every subclass. Now okay, what we are able to get there? Student table. Where inside the student table, then what we are having, now first of all, name is existed here. Superclass data as well as subclass data. Both are going to be provided in a separate table. Name after this name, then what next one here? Age. Then after that student ID. Then after the student ID, then what next one here? And student qualification. Student ID, student qualification. Then what next one here? Student qualification is okay. Student marks. This is one table here we are able to have. Another table here we have to take. Then what about this another table here? This would be like what there? Employee. Inside this employee, what columns here we are able to have there? Again name. Again, if now this superclass data is very clear. The same data here we are using. Then after that here, what we have to provide there? EID. Then EID. Then what next one here? ECell. ECell. After this ECell and E designation. Now this is like what the two tables are created with respect to this particular one. If we use this particular approach now, when we say both the objects, how data is going to be stored in both of them. AAA 25, S111, BTech. How marks are going to be provided like what is 78. And here automatically employee details are going to be stored inside this employee table. What employee details here? BBB S30, EID E111, ECL 50,000, designation manager. Now here how data is going to be stored here. Okay. Now this time here, what data is going to be stored here? Now the second thing, that means if we use the second one here, when we store this data, the data has to be stored in this particular one. So in this particular scenario, for the sake of the second model, ORM tool, hibernate has provided a solution in the form of like what there. The second one is like what there? Table per concrete class. What's the mechanism? It has used the table per concrete class. Yes, table per class hierarchy. Yes, this name is available. Okay, table for concrete class. This is a second. This is a mapping provided by hibernate ORM tool. Here, what it is provided the table for concrete class. It means that it allows us to declare persons as what they know after class, and the subclass are like what their student, employer, concrete classes. There we can provide this. Okay, this is another one. Next one is another approach is also existed here. At database side, we are able to use another approach also. What is this another approach here? Observe carefully here. This is approach number 2. Now here I'm telling you approach number 3. What is this approach here? First of all, I want to take for each and every class a separate table. For parent class a separate table. For subclasses another separate table I'm going to use. Name, age, This will be a separate table. Name of the table is like what? The person table. Person table is existed. Next one is for each and every subclass another table it able to provide. But another table it is provided. First one is like what? The student table, SID, qualification, marks. Here we are having similarly. This is what table actually student table. Next one after the student table. After the student table, here we are able to have like what the employee table. Inside this employee table, then what we are able to provide here? EID, employee ID. Then here employee salary, employee designation. Right. After providing all this content here, when I store these both the objects, no, parent data has to be stored in parent table only. Name AAA, age is like what there 22, 25. Then student data will be stored in the student table. Qualification like what there BTech, marks 78. When we store save of EMP, automatically parent object data will be stored in parent table. That is like what there BBB. Age will be like what there 30 for example. 30 years age is available. Now that employee data will be stored inside like what the employee table. This is like what I'm telling the employee table. Then inside this employee table, then what we're having there, employee ID E111, employee salary 5,000 or 50,000, and designation is like what their manager. Then how the data will be stored inside this? But both the tables are having some relationships. Both the tables are connected with a parent table with a primary key, foreign key. Here also we are having like what the primary key, foreign key approach key we are having. Now get this solution, whatever the solution key we have taken there, this solution which is provided by hibernate in the form of like what there table per subclass. Table per subclass that we are getting. Right, so now this is exactly the meaning of like what their inheritance mapping. Now tell me here, we are using that hibernate or not? We are using that inheritance mapping to provide mapping between object-oriented data model and relational data model or not? Come on guys, you have to respond for me question now. This is what exactly the way to represent inheritance in object-oriented data model and the way to represent all the tables in like what they're in a relational data model. This is like what I'm telling you, inheritance mismatch. That inheritance is mismatch. The inheritance mismatch is overcome. That inheritance mismatch will overcome in our product. Okay, anyway, now this is one of the points here we can understand about inheritance mapping. Right, yes. Next one is we have to go for association mapping. That part we are going to understand and not on at what time, guys? Then these classes might be next class will be on Monday. No class is on tomorrow and day after tomorrow.